Halito, and welcome to Native Chalk Talk, a podcast by natives for all. Here we're keeping our Native ancestors' stories and history alive, while also sharing with you our Native culture, traditions, and more. I'm Rachel Youngman, a Choctaw originally from Anadarko, Oklahoma. I hope you'll enjoy this journey with me as we learn from our Native American guests. And I hope you'll do me a favor. Feel free to like and share these episodes. I so appreciate it. Yakuki.
You're listening to part 4 of this series.
I am more than a craftsman.
I'm more than an outdoorsman.
I am more than a maker.
I am more than a firefighter.
More than a teacher.
Than a student.
Than a leader.
A singer.
A healer.
I am more than a champion.
More than a princess.
I am more than a warrior.
More than a Tushka.
More than a storyteller.
More than a protector.
Than a graduate. A business owner.
An athlete.
A pastor.
Chata Ilfina Chili.
Chata Elefanachili.
Chata Elefanachili.
I am Choctaw proud.
I am Choctaw proud.
I am Choctaw proud.
Choctaw proud.
Choctaw proud.
I am Choctaw proud.
We are the Choctaw Nation, and together we're more.
All right. So, if any of our Native American brothers and sisters out there want to get into the healthcare field, what would you suggest they do to start?
Yes. Well, to start, I would say probably the most basic entry level would be to start with like a CPR card, like a BLS certification, just basic life support. Learn CPR. Was that
That's
easy?
an easy start, right?
It's an easy start,
Yeah.
and then from there, say, okay, I've learned CPR. I know. Do I want to continue this? Is it something that was there a spark there? I mean, that to me, because that's the bare minimum. Everybody needs a BLS to do anything in healthcare. So start with the CPR, but then you start asking yourself questions like, am I squeamish? How do I deal with bodily fluids? How do I deal with people? What are my strengths and my weaknesses? Because different healthcare modalities can adapt to those type of preferences and personalities. There is a healthcare job for everyone out there. You just depending on what your preference is. And I've known people that went all the way through nursing school, about to graduate, and then had to do some things that they weren't uncomfortable with, like changing a catheter, doing, changing a diaper, if you will, on an adult. And all of a sudden that's not what they want to do anymore. And they're just going to quit nursing school. And, that's kind of the stuff that you get into. And you, God forbid, do not want that to happen, is get down the road and realize this isn't for me. Right. And even then, there's plenty of other, non-clinical nursing jobs. There's lots of different fields to go into. So
For sure. God bless our healthcare workers. My goodness. Right? Oh, yeah. So, what degrees and licenses and certifications are good for a successful career in the medical field?
Sure. So, and that goes to what, preferences and how much education. I mean, we have paramedics that are working that have taken EMT courses and got their BLS, and there's nurses that have associates in nursing. There's bachelor's degree in nursing. I'd say nowadays for RNs, BSN, the bachelor's in nursing is kind of the standard. And then from there, nurse practitioners and physician assistants all have master's degrees. The pharmacists typically have bachelor's or master's, now even PharmDs. The physicians all have 4-year medical degree plus a 3-year residency, and sometimes a fellowship in addition to that. So there's lots of different pathways to getting into the medical field, for sure.
That's fantastic. Thanks for that. Because it is a really good field, right? I mean, they can support their families.
Oh, so many. From medical technologists to X-ray techs to the CT techs, phlebotomists. They're all making great money right now, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I am one of the folks that helps with the assessing who should be granted scholarships from the Choctaw Foundation. And some of those scholarships do entail trying to become a doctor, trying to become a nurse. Now they do ask certain questions and you have to go through a whole process, but it's worth it and you can get some money to help you through that if you are a Choctaw. And I'm sure there are other tribes out there that also have something similar. So check with your tribe to see if maybe they have some scholarships out there for going into the medical field. And again, for the Choctaws, that's the Choctaw Foundation, CHAHTA Foundation. All right, so let's say a person goes to college or gets a certification for healthcare. What's next once they want to graduate?
Yes, and that's where the catch-22 comes, because next is to get a job, right? But
Right.
without experience, we can't take you. And that's where it gets very, especially in my game with the federal contract world. Most of these will require 12 months of experience in whichever modality, and that
Right.
used to be.
That Sorry to interrupt you, but that's the thing. My stepson just graduated from University of Arkansas, not in the medical world, but he's kind of like, how do I get a job without experience? And how do I get an experience without a job? That is the question all our young people are asking. Help us with this, Jackson.
Okay, well, they're not, the young people aren't going to like this answer, and it's kind
Okay.
of like what I used to tell the nurses too, because I used to be my frustration as a nurse recruiter. I've got all these nurses just ready to go to work. They're qualified on paper, but they don't have the experience, so they don't have a chance. The only way
Yeah.
they're going to get that is by taking these jobs that nobody else is willing to take to get that. And
Okay.
a lot of time in the nursing, it could be long-term care, it could be home health, it could be volunteering somewhere. In the non-healthcare, it's going to be the same way. You're going to have to take a job that nobody else wants. You're going to have to volunteer. You're going to have to do your stuff on the weekends or at night until somebody notices you, until you can
Right.
say, I've been doing this. Yeah, I wasn't getting paid for it, but at least I've done it. Or maybe you can get an entry-level job, but that's unfortunately what
Yeah.
it is.
So it's pay your dues for a little while. It's not forever, guys. Pay your dues for a little while, and then eventually it'll pay off. And just keep your eye on the prize. Number one, you're helping people. Number two, when you do land that great job, you're going to be able to go travel on occasion or take a weekend and go see your best friend, go out to eat somewhere nice. You don't have to always do Taco Bell like I did when I was paying my dues. So we all had to do it, and it's okay. Enjoy the ride. You can even laugh at it on occasion that it's like, I'm really having to do this. Yes, you are, because we all did, and it's going to be
Yeah.
worth it. It's going to pay off.
Yes, and do it to the best you can do it. If you're sweeping the
Yes.
floor, sweep the floor like you've never swept. That's
Amen.
what we have to do. That's what it takes.
Yeah. Okay, so if I'm a candidate who wants to get hired, of course, I'll need a resume. What tips do you have for candidates when it comes to their resumes? Because I've seen that there's new trends out there. For instance, they're saying don't put your objective at the top anymore. That's, I guess, old news, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I could agree with that to a degree with the objective. I mean, we all know what your objective is: get a job, get the
Get
most
a
money
job.
you can for the least amount of work, right? That's what we all want. But you could start with the most recent, starting with the most recent and working your way down, because that's what I care about. Where's the last place you worked?
Yeah.
And start there and then start going down. If you don't have any work history or it's limited, start with your education, and then at least okay. Then I'm looking at the education first, and then hopefully you volunteered or maybe you haven't. If I will say one thing that the experts have said that is no longer used, but I like as a recruiter, is a cover letter. People say, "Oh, cover letters are gone." I like it because it tells me what this person is, what they want, what they're doing, just more than their resume. You know what I mean?
The same way. Yeah, because it's like, I want to see more than just facts and data. I want to see a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit. Let me see some of that personality shine through.
Yeah, or at least like tell me I've got a family. I need a Monday through Friday schedule. I'm looking for this. I'm looking
There
for
you
that.
go.
I can, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because then at least that way, before I even called you, I've already got some ideas in my mind, or I'm looking for this area or that area, or I'm relocating, or I need this amount of money. Any of that I prefer, because then that kind of helps me start doing my job before we've even called you,
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than just, because there's nothing worse. You get a great resume, go, oh man, this person, oh yes, and you call them up, and they're like, oh no, I only want to work in California, or I'm only looking for night shifts, and you go, oh man, I wish I would have known
Yeah.
that. So I'm just
That is
saying
such a good point.
it
Yeah,
helps.
for sure. So I am talking directly to our Native American listeners out there of any tribe to consider as you're tuning into this episode. I'd love for y'all to reach out to Jackson if you are in the medical field, to learn more about his company and put your hat in the ring for opportunities, knowing he's Native as well. Jackson's goal, and I know this because I spent a lot of time getting to know him and his company, is especially to support Native careers and, healthcare facilities along with that, of course. So if you're on the medical job hunt, reach out. So something else I'd like to mention is you're what's called a pure play service. You're not a big tribe that outsources, for instance. You are Native and you have your own relationships with candidates and organizations. That's a differentiator. Yeah, that's a big deal, y'all. What other differentiators would you say are in place when you compare worldwide medical staffing to other healthcare recruiting companies out there?
Yes. Well, you hit that one on the head as far as we are different in the fact that we are doing the work ourselves. I'm running this organization from, I say the top down, although I manage from the bottom up. I have all my employees report up to their managers who report up and up. But that's what kind of makes us different, is that we are in office, and we are a smaller organization. So we give you that personal attention. I mean, I know all of my people. I actually do the payroll. I hit the approve on the paychecks every week here, so I see the hours, I see who's working, and a big companies, you're not going to get that. And then again, being that we're Native owned, you won't find another Native staffing company that has the experience that we do. And that's I can see that in confidence, because I've been doing this for so long, and I'm waiting for some of them to come along and join me, and they're just not out there yet. So,
Yeah, yeah. I got you.
but
And what's interesting is you've been in this business long enough that listeners, if you've worked in Indian Health Services, chances are you've already worked with someone that Jackson has staffed.
We'll be back after this quick break. Are you in the medical field looking for your next opportunity? Listeners, I'm proud to introduce you to Native American veteran-owned staffing company, Worldwide Medical Staffing. Owner and CEO Jackson Weaver is a citizen of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma and is a service-connected disabled veteran, where he and his team staff for commercial healthcare and government entities such as the Department of Defense, Department of Energy, and DHS, and specialize in staffing Indian Health and VA hospitals nationwide. Isn't it nice to know that our veterans are being cared for by staff who have been handpicked by a veteran who's been in the staffing business for 17 years? Healthcare job seekers, check out these open jobs on www.medical.com. If you're seeking temporary, long-term, or permanent placement of physicians, advanced practice, registered nurses, and more, check out www.medical.com. And Yakoki to our medical professionals and to those who have served our country.
So I'm going to bring up a sensitive topic, so brace yourself. Is there ever a concern from the companies that are hiring that Native staff won't be up to par with non-Native staff? Is there a stigma out there that we may not know about?
I would say no. I would say not as far as the staff. As a matter of fact, I think they would love Native nurses. Native nurses do so much better, I would say, because of their ability to make an immediate connection with the patient. I mean, some of these patients, especially the older ones, they may carry some mistrust towards a white nurse or towards a non-native, and sometimes they may be dementia involved. There might be alcohol or drugs, and they could be combative, or they're not. But when another native comes along, they can talk differently to them, and they can build a rapport. They can be nice, they can be mean, they can do things that typical. They're a little bit more comfortable, and it's a little bit more received from the patient. So I would say native nurses are very in demand and very high regarded from our clients. But now I was going to say, now as far as the native staffing goes, that's where the jury is out.
Ah, interesting.
Because that's actually happened to me, believe it or not, where I won a contract, and I won't name the area, but it was going nowhere fast for physicians, and I was supposed to have 5 physicians that to deliver, and of course we won it, and we were so excited, and we got busy. I myself for like 2 weeks straight recruited, and we got the doctors, and nothing happened. And I'm talking a month after we submitted these doctors, and I'm calling them every other week, and they're not answering. And I said, I thought you guys needed doctors. Well, then I found out that they had extended the previous company. It was a large business. And I said, well, and they said they extended the other company, they basically told me, we don't need your doctors. And I said, whoa, time out. What about all the work that I've done? I can't believe this.
Right.
And, I started kind of causing a stink. Well, one of the lower level people within Indian Health Service said, the truth is, they didn't think that you were going to deliver on this. And they never even planned on you to deliver. So that's why.
My goodness.
That's why they extended those other guys, and why they haven't responded to you on your nurses or on your doctors. And that kind of like blew me out of the water a little bit. But
that's so hard for me to fathom,
Yeah.
That you're
as was I, because I was the one doing the work. And I said, I've been knocking on the door with these candidates, which are not growing on trees anyways,
Yeah, exactly.
So it was kind of, that was a gut punch. I'm not going to lie. And it was a new buy Indian contract. Yeah.
That's actually a thing.
It's actually a thing.
We got to stop that, y'all. That needs to stop. Hopefully you don't come across that very often.
Well, let's hope not. I mean, that's another story. I don't want to get myself in trouble on this podcast.
But interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it happens. It does happen.
Yeah. Well, you must be doing really well, because you recently even moved locations, right?
Yes. We have moved from Gilbert, Arizona to Mesa, Arizona. We moved about 12 miles away. Real estate's a little bit cheaper in Mesa. So I was able to basically, I've moved from 1,600 square feet to about 2,700 square feet now. And
moly,
trying to get for the same price in rent. And just to kind of tell you the difference in the real estate out here in Phoenix. But I'm hiring more recruiters. We've expanded our operation, and we'll be here for the next 5 years in this present location.
Very exciting. Always taking it to the next level. I was curious, do you specialize in any one area in the medical world?
So, well, me would specialize in physicians, because that's what I was, a physician recruiter, but worldwide specializes in everything. I mean, we have dedicated allied health recruiter who recruits the medical technologist, the phlebotomist, any of the technicians, the CT techs. We have advanced practice recruiters who strictly recruit the physician assistants and nurse practitioners. We've got nursing, pharmacists, physicians, you name it, we do it.
It's definitely the whole gamut then.
Yes. General surgeon, yes.
Yes, and yes. So I was curious about something, the Buy Indian Act. What is that, and how does it apply to your business?
So the Buy Indian Act from 1908 is something that was been kicked down the road for over 100 years. from the U.S. government, and it was originally enacted by Congress to make natives into a more civilized population, and by that by making them into merchants and business people. However, for over 100 years, they could never agree on the rules or finalize it. So it was just something that just went down the road. And in 2021 or 22, President Biden's administration was able to finalize this, or his people got it through. And now we've got the Buy Indian Act. So in effect, and it would be very similar to what the veterans have been doing with the VA choice program or the Veterans First, where I can get preference on VA contracts that I bid on because I'm service disabled veteran. Well, now I can get the same preference with Indian Health Service because I'm enrolled Choctaw. And so what has that done for me? That's done amazing, because it's kind of leveled the playing field, where there was lots of large business and lots of outsourced staffing companies that were filling the Indian Health Service jobs, have now kind of moving into these smaller businesses like myself and other Indian owned. So it's a changing landscape for the better for us.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. And now I'm educated on this. I wasn't sure what all of that meant.
They have certain things. They call it a Buy Indian set aside now, where a hospital will put out a need. They'll do a sources sought, it's called, and they'll say, we need 5 nurses for this hospital here. And then if 3 Indian companies respond and say, hey, I'm Worldwide Medical and I can give you your nurses, and somebody else says, I'm Indian Staffing and I can give it to you. All they need is 3 people to play, and they'll put it out to us to compete amongst ourselves.
Okay. Interesting. So whether you're a hiring personnel at a native or non-native healthcare facility, or you're a healthcare worker that's native or non-native, I hope you'll consider working with an American Indian-owned company. And not only that, a veteran-owned small business like Worldwide Medical Staffing. If I sound like I'm a commercial right now for Jackson's business, I am. I truly believe in this opportunity for our native community by a Native American. Well, and you're Choctaw, so I can't help but love that idea too. Tell us again how people can get in touch with you to apply for opportunities or to share about open opportunities.
Yes. Well, you can first go to our website, www.medical.com. And we also have traveldoctor.com, www.traveldoctor.com. You can look us up on Facebook. We're also on LinkedIn. We post our jobs once a week on social media, the hot jobs it is, at least. But for the most part, the website's a good way to go.
Perfect. Yeah, I get on this, guys. It's such a great, whether you are looking for your next career or you are in the medical field and ready to take it to the next level, you've had a little bit of experience, whether it is volunteering or some of those other ideas that Jackson gave you, get on it. This is such a good field to be in, and the opportunities are endless. So Jackson, thank you for joining us today. Before we go, are there any words of wisdom you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, thank you for having me. And I would just like to tell your listeners that consistency is key. And that's what I would leave off with. And that I wish everybody a great Veterans Day. And thank you for your service to your veterans out there. Yakoki.
Yakoki. Our servicemen and women are often called to leave their world of comfort, family, and safety to sacrifice their lives for ours. Please find a veteran to thank for their service today. And if you can, seek out Native-owned and veteran-owned businesses to support. Jackson, I thank you for sharing about your family, a long line of those who have served our country. Yakoki, and happy Veterans Day to all who have served. Thanks for listening to Native Chalk Talk. Be sure to join our community on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and check us out at nativechalktalk.com. Stay tuned for the next episode. You're going to love it. Yakoki. Thank you, my friends.